All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Ever get that feeling that the characters in your favorite games, aren't always the sharpest tools in the shed? Like they just run on rails doing the same predictable things over and over?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mean that feeling when you know exactly what an NPC is going to do before they even do it? Like their whole life's just one big scripted loop.
Exactly. So today, we are diving deep into how things could be radically different. We're talking about the potential of AI to transform NPCs, specifically using large language models and something called latent reasoning to make those virtual characters a whole lot smarter and a whole lot more believable.
It's a fascinating area. See, for the longest time, game characters have been hamstrung by, well, traditional AI. Think basic scripts, finite state machines, all that stuff.
Right, and that means predictable behavior. But this latent reasoning thing, it seems to be drawing inspiration from, well, us,
Yeah.
from how humans actually learn.
Yeah, it's like taking a page from cognitive science, looking at how we pick up information without necessarily trying to. So think about this. Say you're walking through your neighborhood, right? And you pass this storefront every day. Now, you're not actively trying to memorize what's in the window, but your brain's still taking it in subconsciously.
Oh, so like when you randomly remember the name of that store a week later, even though you weren't making a mental note of it?
Exactly. That's latent learning in a nutshell. And it's not just anecdotal. Back in the day, Edward Tolman, a big name in psychology, did these experiments with rats in mazes. And what they found was those rats could actually learn the maze's layout even without a direct reward, like food. They were building up an internal cognitive map, implicitly, without needing a carrot dangling in front of them.
Interesting. So rats in mazes, learning without treats. How does that leap over to, well, supercharging game characters?
So in AI, latent reasoning is all about what's going on inside the model in those hidden layers before it spits out an answer. It's the model thinking things through without necessarily needing to verbalize each and every step.
So it's not like those chain of thought models where every step is explicitly laid out. It's more under the hood, so to speak.
Right, like a more natural, human-like thought process. And
Yeah.
one really exciting example of this is something called chain of continuous thought, or coconut. Instead of constantly translating its internal state into words, the AI actually feeds that hidden state back into itself, which allows it to explore possibilities more fluidly and get to more efficient, more effective solutions.
So it's like the AI is having its own internal dialogue, working things out before deciding on the best course of action. And this actually leads to better problem solving.
Oh yeah, it can outperform some of those explicit chain of thought models, especially when it comes to logical reasoning tasks. And all of that with fewer thinking steps, fewer tokens, which makes it more efficient.
So we're talking smarter and faster. More bang for your buck, computationally speaking.
Yeah, that's the exciting part. And it's not just about speed. This way of processing information, it allows these AI to wrap their heads around really complex relationships, stuff that's tough to capture with language alone. We're talking spatial reasoning, understanding physics, even grasping mathematical concepts.
Okay, so we've got AI that can learn without explicit instructions, can reason more efficiently, and can understand complex relationships that go way beyond just language. I'm starting to see where this is going. How would all of this actually play out in the games we play? How would it change our interactions with the NPCs we encounter?
Imagine this. NPCs who actually understand the context of the game world, who can pick up on your playstyle, your actions, your reputation among other characters, and react accordingly. Not in some pre-programmed way, but organically. And they could even build up their own internal maps, just like those rats in the maze, to make their navigation more realistic, more believable.
So no more NPCs just standing around waiting for you to trigger their script. They'd have their own internal models of the world they inhabit.
Right, think about it. Their goals and motivations wouldn't need to be spelled out for you. Maybe they have hidden agendas, or change their strategies on the fly, or even decide to retreat if a fight isn't going their way.
So more like a real person would, making decisions based on the situation at hand, not just a predetermined set of rules.
Exactly. And this is where the concept of the latent space comes in. That internal representation that the AI builds up, it could act like a kind of long-term memory, allowing NPCs to remember past interactions with you, making their responses more consistent, more personalized.
Wow, that's a huge step up from the generic cookie-cutter responses we're used to.
Right. And then think about the possibilities for truly emergent behavior. These aren't actions that are programmed in, but arise organically from the complex interplay of the AI's internal understanding and the environment. Imagine an NPC changing their dialogue based on your bad reputation, or maybe two NPCs forming an unlikely alliance because they've had similar experiences.
So genuine surprises. Unpredictable outcomes.
Yeah.
NPCs doing things that the developers never explicitly programmed them to do.
Exactly. You might even encounter situations where NPCs come up with solutions to problems that you, the player, hadn't even considered. Now, that's exciting.
It really is.
Yeah.
But how is all of this even possible? What are the advancements that are making this kind of latent reasoning a reality?
Well, there are a few things happening in the AI world that are really pushing this forward. First off, there are these new techniques that allow for direct manipulation of the latent space, that internal representation we were talking about. Coconut, for example, is one of those. Then there's been huge progress in implicit learning, where AI can learn without needing every single data point to be labeled. And on top of that, researchers are getting much better at understanding these high-dimensional latent spaces and designing new AI architectures that can operate effectively within them.
So we're essentially teaching AI to learn more like we do, to process information implicitly and build up a rich internal understanding of the world. It almost sounds like we're blurring the lines between virtual and real.
In a way, yeah. By tapping into those cognitive principles that govern human learning and reasoning, and combining that with the raw processing power of LLMs, we're opening up a whole new world of possibilities for interactive experiences.
It's a pretty mind-blowing idea. It makes you wonder, what will those games look like in 5–10 years? What kind of unexpected, unscripted stories will unfold? It feels like we're right on the cusp of something truly revolutionary.
I think so too. As we continue pushing the boundaries of what these AI are capable of, who knows what kind of emergent behaviors, what kinds of complex relationships we might see. It's a fascinating journey, blending cognitive science with cutting-edge AI, and I can't wait to see where it takes us.
A fascinating journey indeed. Thanks for taking the time to walk us through it.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, if this kind of AI-powered future gets your gears turning, stick around. We'll be exploring even more groundbreaking advancements and their impact on the world we know in future episodes of The Deep Dive. See you next time.